into the Windows 7. I'm getting into it with TeamViewer. And this is going to be episode 4. Okay, we're still going through the code samples from chapter 2. And I think we got as far as 2.4 last episode, so we'll look at there first. There's when I do Control S, okay, we'll add beautifier later. That should straighten all this up, but not what today's lesson's about. Let's go ahead and look at 2.4. Chapter 2, set 4. It's probably already open. Okay, requiring connect. Feeding that to an instance of app. App is listening. App will respond. Okay, I think we already ran that in our early episode. There's really nothing new there. So really I think we can go to 2.5 and see what happens there. Yeah, if we can get through all these, a 25-minute episode, I'll be happy. We might even start chapter 3. That's where I tried to start this series and it wasn't making sense, so I wanted to go back and get what was there. New constant of connect requires connect. A constant of app is equal to that connect. Constant hello world function. Okay, we're getting our request, our response, and our next. Response set header. Response end. Because they feed it a next, because it doesn't ever really call it. I guess that is the call. Okay. Might want to read a little bit on 2.5 here. I think it's about where we left off in the text. Let's go ahead and look at 2.6 first before we go back to the text and see. We're looking for patterns of what's changing, because they're just kind of layering on one step at a time. We're working our way towards routing, but I don't think they're doing any routing here yet. And they're still in connect. I think Express they might do a little bit of routing in connect just to show you how Express makes it easier than connect, or what Express adds to connect. Let's look at our next one. We'll do open chapter 2. Oh, don't want too far. So we've only got 6 and 7 left, which is fine. We were getting close to the end of the text. Let's look at 6. Open up that server. So Node's the actual server. This JavaScript file is just an opening to it. And that's kind of the concept of Node. It's like each file is a different node, and it links to the next node that's going to run a module. It's all how to link all this together. So this was, when I was young, we had to try and connect it all through, like go to line 20, go to line 10. These are just the line numbers. So go to line connect, use line connect, constant logger. Okay, so your constant's like your variable after ES6. So logger equals function with the request, response, and next. Okay, so here we're going to log a method. We're going to log the requested method and log the requested URL, and then go to next. Okay, it's starting to make sense. I've always wondered everybody's always saying go read your logs, go check your logs. This is where you would create them at. I'm always like, what logs? I don't have any logs. When I made PHP, it would automatically, the framework would automatically generate the logs, so I finally had some there to look at. But this is what we're looking at. It's how the JavaScript framework, the main, is put together. So this is where main will be getting its logger files, I believe. That is the logger. And the logger is the first part of the log is what you request. The second part of the log is what was your result, what was the response. And the next part of the log would be what comes next. So that makes sense. All that's being where'd it go? Hello world function. I might be thinking it. I mean, yeah. Okay, the spread operator. I've seen that before, and I'm kind of curious how. I think what it's doing is taking these and entering them as an array that it's feeding in. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, that can be confusing. That's not a spread array. I was like, where'd it go? Okay, there's the log. I was like, where'd the console log? Because it's console log. So that's really, it's not going into a file yet. It's just showing it to your command line prompt. It would be showing up in here, I guess. And then it's going to call the next one. And it's feeding, because it's feeding these to the next, it knows to bring all that down here. Okay. Sometimes it's not the code you write, it's the code you learn to read. A lot of guys like to write code, but if you really want to study this stuff, you gotta learn to read code. So, and I don't even know that we use connect that much. I don't know if express is going to be layered on top of connect, or if it's just an example of how it works. Or if we call express and express calls connect. I'll never turn my camera on. It's probably a good thing, because I'm got a runny nose. I was just cleaning that up, or else I probably didn't want that on camera. But I never turned the camera on this morning. So, that's fine. We'll try a few episodes without. If there's something I need to show you, I can turn the camera back on. That was actually part of the, that was beta testing too. I think as a general rule, I'll leave it on, but if it's off, it's not a big requirement. Whatever here. Where'd it go? Video capture device. I just didn't green screen it today. Is that cutting? Yeah, I don't have all the lights on. It's fine. We'll add it later. I don't want to be blocking any more of the screen than I have to. I always thought green screen was cool. Always wanted to use that for something. Hello world. Response end hello world. App use logger. Configure the Connect application instance to use the logger middleware. App use logger. So I guess, okay, whenever, so that's not just going to go to the screen. I think it's going to, when it uses that, I think it's going to use that to actually write the file, the middleware. It's going to make a call and log in what we feed to the console. So it's, I think it'll fork it and actually give it to the console and the file there. App use hello. Oh, maybe not. These are actually telling the app to use these. I got it in reverse. That instance of the app is calling back to this constant. If there's more advanced guys watching these videos and realize I'm not understanding something, please call me out on it. This isn't me pretending to be an expert. This is me work. This is like a video diary journal of me working my way through this stuff. And a lot of times I'll put the playlist on loop and I'll figure out something later in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, that's what I was missing. You know, after been thinking about it for a little bit and done a little extra reading, if something clicks. So, yeah, these are definitely more for me than the audience, but I am aware of the audience while I'm doing it. It's a feedback loop, hopefully a positive one. Okay, and here's where it's actually logging back console log. See, that one's different. Is that console log at the bottom different than this console log up here? Because that one's in the constant, and this one's just like in the, it's not in the constant, it's just in the flow of what it's being called. Log the server status to the console. So I think what it's doing up here, it's defining it to use it, but it's not calling it. Okay, so when it says app use console, or when it says app use logger, at that moment it's going to line 8. Okay, I'm kind of getting it. I just don't understand why. That's fine. I think we're okay with this. Let's look one more time. Let's see. I think we got one more file. Let's look at file 7. How are we on time? Halfway through. After reading these, we'll go run them. Especially the ones that. But we'll kind of know to look for what we're looking for when we see it run. Okay, so we're still going to use connect. We don't get to express till next chapter. And then the logger. Next. Hello world. All that was in the last one, right? Does it do anything different there? Good. It's adding the goodbye world. Okay. So I believe, well, do you care if I call you out? His name's Brandon, I think. He's at the free code camp, and we were talking about how a lot of these tutorials give you the hello world, but they never give you a goodbye world. And this book was written before we had that conversation, but also before I started reading it. This book was written before I started reading it. There's some intelligence for you. This book was already written when we had that conversation. But we had that conversation before I started reading this book. That's what I meant to say. So, we were talking about how the tutorials never get around to a goodbye world. And that's what they're adding here, is our goodbye world after hello world. So they're adding a secondary choice. I think that'll actually clear this up. I think I remember calling that the other day. But the question was, how did we call it? App use hello world. App use goodbye world. And that's it right there. That's our first fork in our URL. Instead of just going to app.com, we're going to app.com/hello. I think that's what I've been looking for 3 days. Is where the routing begins to fork is app hello and app goodbye. What's on your mind? Goodbye. Alright, we're getting there. We're building this up, guys. Just like little Legos. Just snapping it all together. Little plastic building blocks. One little paragraph plugs into another little paragraph and goes to line. Let's go to line. Let's go to a line on another computer. This. Oh, we were there. This brackets is on the Windows 7 that we're navigating. Did we update our? Yep, episode 4, chapter 2, 2.4. We got 10 minutes. Alright, we'll hold off on that. Let's go ahead and run some code. We're still in chapter 2. Oh. Yeah. That's fine, we'll take them from there. Now, let's get them from, let's try not to use that. The less open, the better. We'll take them from here. Chapter 2. Let's just go with 7. If that, not 7. Let's jump to chapter 7. 2.7. Let's just run this one. And if that gives me the forking, we'll go on to chapter 3. That's all I've really been looking for. So we just copied that. We're going to come down here to our command line. It's still on the server where we stopped at 2.4. So we're going to Control C. And that gets us out of there. Now we change directory. Space. Paste our path that we just copied out. Now we're over at the 2.7 directory. And the first thing we had, go up arrow, node server. And all that's there is that server file. Okay, so the server's running at localhost 3000. So let's go over, let's take a look at that. Take this full screen for now. Can we make that one any bigger? Nope. Okay, that's all we can do for now. So we'll do localhost. Oh, it's HTTP. I'm surprised it's not popped up already. Probably helps to spell it right. And while I'm talking about routing, it took me a while to figure this out. This is your whole program. Your URL up here is your program. This is exactly where it's going. Localhost 3000. That's what we said. And that's the server we got running. Or not. Refuse to connect. Did you start your server? I think so. Cannot get. Okay. That was in the text. There's something we're missing. It showed that picture. And that makes sense. Since we skipped from 3.4 to 3.7, there's probably a step in there that we're devaluing. So let's go look at what that was. Let's go to where it says cannot connect, because I know I saw that picture. Like probably installing connect. We probably didn't do that. That's the difference. Connects our first external. Everything else, like when we're calling HTTP, that was one of the core modules. Now that we're using connect, it's not a core module. You'll have to install it using Node Package Manager. As you already know, there are several ways of installing third-party modules. The easiest one is to install it directly using the npm install command. To do so, use your command line tool and navigate to your working folder, then execute the following command. Node Package Manager install connect. Don't think that's all we were missing, but that's definitely a critical step. So let's get back over to our server. Our command line. Oh, we got some other stuff. We got our fave icon. Alright, let's get out of this. Control C. Now we'll paste the command we just copied, which is install connect. So it's doing something. It just didn't go back to our command prompt because I can't type anything right now. And what it's doing, we closed our, we'll have to look through brackets. We'll do file, open. Let's go back up to 2 and look in the 7 again. Huh? I thought it would add some, maybe say file name, all files. I really expected it to show some more stuff in there. Let's see how it's doing on the run. Yeah, I see. Let's read what it says here. Install connect. No such file or directory. Open package JSON. No such file or directory. Open package JSON. No description, no repository, no readme, no licensee. What Connect's trying to do is find a JSON package. We've not given it one. Updated one package. So it didn't install anything, did it? It just updated something. That's why they weren't there. Let's try it again. Not the install. Let's go past our install. I'm doing up arrow. Get back to Node server. Let's try running that again. Okay, we're still getting our server. So now let's go back. Which just cannot get. Was that enough? Probably not. One more thing I want to look at before we go back to the text. Let's go ahead and look at our Windows Explorer. We're on the desktop. Where are we? Must be down. Yeah, chapter 2. Set 7. Okay, I really thought it was going to add more files in here. Not time for that yet. Okay. Let's go back to the text. What else we got going on? I probably should just go back to 3.5. Work our way up. That's fine. Let's go to the text. Let's see what we're doing. 3 or 2 minutes. Oh, it didn't put it in that server, or in that directory. We'll install the connect module inside a node modules folder, which that probably already was done. So it's installing it globally, basically. So it's installing it in the server we're not looking at right now. Module inside a node modules folder, which will enable you to require it in your application. To run your connect web server, just use Node's command line interface and execute the following command. Node server, that's how we've been getting it to run. 23, we got about a minute and a half. Okay. Node will run your application, reporting the server status using the console log method. That's what I kept asking about a while ago. You can try, see it says cannot get, that's what we're expecting. Excuse me. You can try reaching your application in the browser by visiting localhost 3000. However, you should get a response similar to what is shown in the following screenshot, which we did. So we're right on track. We're right where we're supposed to be in the text. We're just a few files ahead. But I think we can do it all in the 7. If not, we'll jump back a file or 2. In our time, we still got a minute. Let's take that last minute. Okay, we'll kind of hold our bookmark here. And our server is open and running. We're good with that. Let's pull this out a little bit. Okay, we got 4, 5, 6, 7. We got all those open. And this is actually over on the right. We'll call that last episode. We'll close this one. So we'll call over here. There. So 4. So in this episode we covered 5, 6, 7. Kinda. But my point being, we want to do this. Is that it? No. Add another. I think I closed my list file. It's under recents. We don't have a recents. Oh, there it is. Open recent. Second edition. I got it open. Is it? Yeah, this is my. Just leave enough room I can grab it next time. Let's see, it's there. Okay. I'll make myself go over. That's fine. I don't mind a long episode, as long as you understand what we're doing. This is episode 5. So let's get a copy of our template here. Copy that